Good evening, parents and students. We would like to welcome you to the 2017 Tri-Way Junior High Open House. And on behalf of Mr. Schindelwolf, myself and Mr. Holt, we welcome everyone here to the school and remind everyone that our vision here at Tri-Way Junior High is every student, every classroom, every day. The purpose of this video is to kind of go over some of those topics that often get questions arise no matter what happens when you're here at school or when you're at home talking about school. And one of those things that we want to do is make sure that we're communicating everything and our expectations as clearly as possible for you so that this school year is successful going forward. Some of the information about some of our procedures, and this is just very general in nature. One is that we have 9 periods throughout our school day, and in between each of those periods we do have 3 minutes where students can go to their locker and change out books and folders and those types of things. The beauty about this building is it's a circle. You can't get lost. There's not extra wings or other dimensions to it where a student could get lost. So if they just keep going around a circle, we've timed it. It takes me about 1 minute and 30 seconds to walk all the way around at a casual pace. So we never have any students getting lost or, for that matter, being often late to class unless there's social reasons associated with that. One of the other things is if you're going around and you're looking at it, you see 200 or 203 on your student's schedule. A couple of things that we wanted to point out is that 200 is the art room, which is across the front office, and then room 203 is the band music choir room, which is diagonally across from where our front office is. Then the gymnasium and stuff is just right down the second ramp that leads down to our gym. And as you're going through and you start to notice, hey, what are these study halls and lunch periods? Well, we have 2 lunch periods, 5th period and 6th period. We've broken each of those down in half. So you may see on your student schedule 5A lunch and then 5B study hall, and vice versa for 6A lunch and 6B study hall. If your student's at lunch during 5A, they'll go to a study hall. If they have study hall 5A, they'll go to lunch at 5B. And same thing for 6th period. 5th period lunch is 7th grade only, and then 6th period is for 8th graders. We keep them separate as much as possible. How does that lunch work? Well, students who after 4th period or after 5th period, depending on what grade level they're in, they'll take all their books and take them to their lockers and put all their school supplies, class supplies in their locker, and then walk on down to the gymnasium where we do have our lunch service. It's very, very simple. There are some questions that may arise about how do I pay, when do I pay. One thing we suggest to all parents and students is, hey, make sure that you're paying on Monday mornings, right? Because we do have a breakfast service that starts at 7:20. You go down and get your breakfast, pay for the week's advance as far as their lunches go, and everything's settled. All lunches are paid for in the morning, not throughout the day. If you have questions about lunch service and payments and those types of things, please contact Melissa Snyder at 330-264-9491, and she will be able to answer any of your concerns or questions regarding payment for the school lunches. Again, free and reduced lunches will carry over from last year for the first 3 weeks of this school year, but we do ask that you get that paperwork into us in a timely fashion prior to, I think it's like September 22nd. And that there'll be notifications sent home as well. Another topic that comes into our purview is discipline. Although we don't like to talk about it much, but unfortunately, we do have discipline and rules that we do try to use as teachable moments. We have 3 options that we utilize. One is before school or after school detentions, which basically lasts anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes at the end of or before the school day. We do have in-school suspensions, which basically are housed over at the high school, and students get all their work and credit for all their work that they're missing for that day in school. And then out-of-school suspension is something that we rarely utilize throughout the school year unless it's a major infraction of the code of conduct here at Tri-Way local schools. Without further ado, I want to pass the mic over to Ben Holt, who's going to be talking to you about transportation and websites.
All right, so 2 parts for transportation, the arrival and the dismissal. When it comes to the arrival, the bus drops off students in front of the school at 7:25, so make sure you guys are not there and do not park in the front as it is a fire zone. For the dismissal piece, buses line up between the high school and junior high right along the sidewalk. They do that at the same time every single day, same order. So students need to make sure that they get in line, get over to the buses as quickly as possible, get familiar with the bus driver's name as well as the bus number. If you're driving your child to school, they need to be in the homeroom no later than 7:55, so probably being here at 7:50 is probably the amount of time that you want to give your child. You can be here earlier if need be, just to make sure they're not being counted as tardy. If you're picking up your child, the dismissal time is 2:42. The buses will be released from the parking lot before the cars will be. So if you want, you can park over in the football field parking lot as well as the lot by the soccer field. For bus pickup and drop-off times from your home, please call the bus garage at 330-264-0577. And also, just a little note here, please try not to call the last 20 minutes of the day to change any type of transportation arrangements. We only have Mrs. Smith, who's our secretary in the office, and it gets very tough for her to go back and forth with only minutes to go in the day to try to get the notes out or the arrangements made. If you need to do that, understandably, just make sure that you do it earlier in the morning, calling in earlier to give her and us some time to sort of get those arrangements made. Some informational pieces for you. We have Progress Book available. You'll figure out more of that tonight. That's an opportunity for communication to find out what's going on with your child, which is very unique and a neat way to communicate with teachers. Also, we have the sports schedules up at our new website for the Triway Athletics. We also have our school website that's available with many types of information. And we also have some fees that are due for each student here at the junior high. The general fee is $30 per student. That's due by Friday, September 22nd. We also have an additional fee of 7th grade band or an additional fee for being a new student at $25. And a one-time transportation fee of $100 for anyone participating in some type of sport. We have a $100 fee no matter how many sports you play. It's just a flat $100 rate. It's also a maximum of $200 per family. So if you have siblings playing as well, it'll only come out to $200 regardless of the many sports you play. Hopefully you guys can use that information, get it as easily as you can. And go back here to Mr. Stutz.
All right, in a few minutes, you're going to be receiving your child's schedule, and hopefully their student is looking over those. We do have a couple of helpful hints for you as you're going through there. As you can go through and look through the schedule, you'll notice that we have all of our classes broken down two ways. One, like math, language arts, history, and science. Those meet, or band even, or choir. Those meet all year long. So there won't be any changes throughout the school year. However, as you go through and start to look through, you're going to see like it says 9WK1. That means first 9 weeks. We have these rotational classes that kind of fit in the category. They're exploratory or elective type of classes. So if you're going through and you notice 9 week 1, that's the first 9 weeks, 9 week 2, that's second 9 weeks. When looking at the schedule, one thing that we also suggest is that you go through and write out the schedule for your student, or have them do it, more importantly, so that they have their first 9 week schedule written out and put in their Trapper Keeper or 3-ring binder, so they have an easy way of following through and things like that. Just to kind of give you an idea, we'll keep students up to date. Say, hey, the first 9 weeks is ending. You're going to be going to your second 9 week class starting on this date, and we kind of refresh their memory as we get closer to those dates. One of the other big things that we have to address is dress code, obviously. Please don't wear any clothes that have holes or tatters in them. If they do, please have your son or daughter wear jeggings or something underneath those so that there's no bare skin showing through those holes and things. The length of skirts, dresses, and shorts is listed with measurements and full dress code policy. I'll make it real simple for you. They need to be below the fingertips of the student. Natural hair color only, no cardinal red, smurf blue, banana yellow, or anything along those lines that will distract students during the educational process here at Triway Junior High. Also, ear piercing is the only visible piercing that we allow here at the junior high and high school. Keep in mind that no nose rings or nose studs or anything like that are allowed to be worn at school time. Some advice for parents and for students regarding dress code. If you're not sure if it's inappropriate, don't wear it. If you're told not to wear something again, don't. Again, going back to the natural hair color, natural hair color means natural hair color, those that you typically see on human beings. Moving on to another hot button topic is cell phones, and we understand that students are going to be bringing their cell phones with them to school. Our procedure is bring them. The other thing is that they have to be turned off and put away in their locker. They can't be carrying them around with them throughout the school day. If we do see them, have them out, we do confiscate them. On the first offense, students are given it back to them at the end of the day. Second offense, parents are called and they have to come in and pick it up. and then the student serves a before or after school detention. The third may result into an in-school suspension. The fourth, obviously, it could end in in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension, with each of those times the parent required to come in and pick up the cell phone. Our school day does start at roughly 7:25. Students are getting off the buses at that time. They come in, they can get their breakfast, or they can sit around and talk with their friends down the gymnasium or in the upper lobby closer to the front office. At 7:33, a bell rings and the students go to the lockers to get books, pencils, paper, and they start heading to their homeroom. And in that homeroom, their attendance is taken and those types of things. Then at 7:45, first period begins, and our day begins. And basically at 7:55, any student arriving after 7:55 is counted as tardy. Just to kind of give you some ideas. Everything that we've discussed here is also in that pamphlet, as I said earlier, that was handed out to everyone in the homerooms. If you have any questions, please go through there and look at those. But the rest of our evening is basically dedicated to, in the next 5 minutes, you'll be filling out a Google form where we're trying to update all of our records as far as emails for you for contact purposes, and to create listservs, 7th and 8th grade listservs, and a whole building listserv. So we can send out emails, maybe it's newsletters, maybe it's, hey, here's this week's events, come and support our students at this and this, and whether it's academic challenge or a football game, volleyball game, or a cross-country event, just so that everybody's aware of what's going on here at Tri-Way Junior High. Also, we're going to be giving you some directions on how to, have you log into Progress Book, sign up for alerts, so you get emails when grades are entered into the Progress Book. If they're lower than a certain, like 80% or 75%, you'll get an email saying, hey, there's a 75 or 80% that was entered in for your child. That way you can have a conversation with your young adult to kind of figure out what caused that grade to be what it is. And again, one of the things that we wanted to focus in is our vision.
Every student, every classroom, every day.
We hope that you enjoy your evening here at Tri-Way Junior High, and if you have any questions or comments or concerns, please stop by the school office and ask Mr. Holt or myself. We'll be glad to help you out in any way we can. Thank you.